Hello. So we are working on exercise chapter 7D, the last exercise. Here we start to discuss about the stretch method. That was the default. ArcMap makes subtle transitions along the selected color ramp, but doesn't give you precise information about which data value are associated with which shades of color. In the classified method, classified method, color transitions are less subtle, but you can see exactly which value ranges corresponds to which shades. And for the unique values, a different color is assigned to each data value in the raster. In the discrete color, each unique value is symbolized randomly from a set of colors. So this method is useful when many unique values are present. So maintain the stretched method. We are going back to the stretch method. And the color ramp list, right-click the color, not the drop-down. So we're going to click Graphic View. There. And we're going to turn it off, on and off. When it's on, then you see a check mark. So click the color ramp arrow, and then we're going to do yellow and green, light to dark color ramp. Yellow to green and light to yellow to green, yellow to green to dark, light to dark. And we select invert checkbox. Invert right here. And then we're going to close it. And then we refresh our map. Wait a little bit. Just wait for it. The color ramp is applied to the layer. The color range from dark olive green at lower elevation through lighter shade. And now we don't see much. We need to go back again. Oh. Yellow bright, that's why. Light to dark, hit apply again. And invert is check. Now, almost. How would you describe the topology of southern Florida? The topology of southern Florida is extremely flat. Look here. So there is no change at all. Now we're going to identify tool and then click land area of the map. We're going to identify elevation again, and then we can see how it changes the value to prove it. And now we're doing polygon, so we're going to turn this layer off. And raster. And basically elevation, we don't see much change. 1 and 0, stretch value. Basically, it's really flat. So now we're going to close the identify tool and zoom in closely to look at the area and see the pixels. And we don't see much change, and we can just pan around to look at it. And then to see the surface relief on your map, you will make the elevation layer partly transparent so that so that the hillshade layer shows through. So to do that, we're going to go back to the full extension view. Now we're going to open layer property of elevation layer. And we go to properties. And to display, and we can say, we can do the transparency, change it into 50. So now, we're going to hit OK, apply, and OK. So transparency can also be used effectively on vector layers. Transparency for all features in vector layers is set on Display tab. Alternatively, click the Advanced button on Symbology tab to set varying transparency according to field values. Now we are fine. The hill sheet layer is now visible below the elevation layer, providing a realistic impression of the landscape. It's really beautiful. Wow, it's really flat here. Okay, and we zoom out a little bit, and we can only see after you cross Orlando, then the southern Florida is very flat. Again, we zoom better to see the hill shading effect. And if you want to save your work, we can rename it. If not, thank you so much for watching. And we're going to go ahead to do Chapter 8 for our next video. Thank you so much. Remember, we can go map property, and they already did for us. Store relative path name to data source, and we're safe. Click OK, and then click Save, and we're going to wait a little minute. And close it out. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move up the folder. Now this time we're going back, Chapter 8. And we're going to open up Chapter Exercise 08A. So now when we open it up, and we can see taxes. And the map is open in Data View. It contains a single data frame called Taxes that contains the counties layer. You will explore the layer attribute to gain an understanding of what you will be mapping. And for now, this from chapter 6 to chapter 10, we're kind of doing cartography using ArcMap. So now we're going to open the attribute table. Right click on it and go to the third option, Open Attribute Table. So in the table of contents, right click the county layer and click Open Attribute Table. Then we scroll to the right to see more of the column headings. We don't have to scroll because my screen is big enough so that you can see everything. And we have 254 counties, and now we can see that we have the table which contains attributes such as county name, not from Texas, so I'm not quite sure, and population, area, square miles, and land areas, water, and population per square miles, county, maybe county, locus, and then what is this data? Then we have a crime data for 1994 and 2000. So should we start with a C? Convicted rape. Wow. We have a crime data here, and robbery, and rape, and conviction. convinced burglary. Arsenal. Wow. Arson. So close the attribute table in the table of contents. Double click the county layer name to open the layer property. And then we go to symbology. So we're going ahead to do that. Property and symbology. So in symbology, under show, click quantities. Now I'm going to click quantities. And we're going to stop here for a long time. The graduated color option for quantitative method is highlighted and the dialog box is changed. The value list shows the available attributes, that is numeric field only. So we are not going to do anything first because we're going to mention a little bit about the classification. But we're going to do one more step before we're going to explain anything further. Is for the graduate colors, we could do burglary 2002, and for the classification. And we can see there are so many methods. And earlier you saw I used it in the previous method. And why I used manual and why I didn't use the other classification method, I'm going to explain a little bit here. So now, first we're going to explain the first one is manual. So for manual classification, you can set class breaks manually by typing them or by adjusting the histogram break bars in ArcMap. Last time you can just drag it here, but for me, I look at the data set that if you go to manual and you can see the some statistic here that you can type in and change them. So the next one is equal interval. Equal interval, then you can see the histogram and everything is set into same distance. So in equal interval classification, the entire range is entirely divided by the number of classes you choose. So if a range of value is 1 to 1000 and there are 5 classes, this method will create classes of 1 to 200, and then 201 to 400, 401 to 600, 601 to 800, 801 to 1000. So we have 5 classes that divided each interval is 200. So this method is used for highlighting changes in the extremes and is most appropriate for familiar data ranges such as percentages or temperatures. With this method, it is also possible to have classes that contain no values.